Hold up. Can Syracuse have a three-guard starting lineup next season? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The rumors just never stop with the transfer portal. Welcome, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and thank you for making us your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And yeah, for Syracuse, well, I was going to give you some under-the-radar shooting guard candidates, but then, Malik Mack from Harvard decides to enter his name into the transfer portal officially. He's been rumored to enter it for a little bit now, but now officially he is in the transfer portal. Who is Malik Mack? Could Syracuse have a three-guard starting lineup next season? And what happens to the other guards? We're going to talk all about it here on the Locked On Syracuse podcast. Okay, who is Malik Mack? Well, he's a point guard, for starters. He was the Ivy League Rookie of the Year at Harvard this season. And right now, he is On3's number 3 overall transfer available. And the reason why there is a lot of buzz about Malik Mack potentially going to Syracuse is that he is a DMV native, and he was a teammate with Donnie Freeman back at St. John's College High School. So he's teammates with Donnie Freeman. He's from the DMV area. You can start to kind of connect the dots and why people are saying Malik Mack might be donning orange next season. So that's a little bit of background as to why Malik Mack is someone Syracuse is connected to. Now, obviously, he's an Ivy League guy. Can he play at the Power 6 level? He averaged 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds last season. That's all fine and dandy, but you're going up against Princeton, right? How are you going to do when you go against Duke or something like that, or a team like Carolina? Well, he played 2 games this year against Power 6 competition, and he fared quite well. They weren't the most elite teams in the country, but Power 6 is Power 6. He had 18 points against Boston College this season. He also had 27 at Indiana. So this is a guy who can put the ball in the basket. Doesn't matter who he's playing. He can translate his game to the Power 6 level, to ACC competition. I believe he can do it. And to be quite honest with you, before we get to the 3-guard lineup possibility, he is the ideal replacement if Judah Mintz were to walk out the door tomorrow or today or right now as I'm recording this. He is the perfect candidate. He's a lefty, so it might be a little bit getting used to him shooting. But overall, he's very similar to Judah Mintz. He's very explosive off the dribble, can get to the rim, can finish around the rim. 51% at the rim this season. It's pretty good, especially for a point guard there. And he is a better shooter than Judah Mintz. He was 34% from 3 at Harvard. So, better shooter, can get to the rim just like Judah Mintz can. He was Ivy League Rookie of the Year. That's nothing to sneeze at, by all means. Here's the thing, though. He is not quite as athletic as Judah Mintz is. He's an acrobat around the rim. He can get around his defenders, but Judah Mintz is just a different speed when he's going to the basket. If you've ever seen him live, he looks like he's the most athletic player on the floor. So when I think of Malik Mack, I think of a better shooter, but almost like and I'm searching for the word here, but very similar player to Judah Mintz when attacking the basket, but an imitation of him. That's the word I was looking for. He's an imitation to Judah Mintz. But he would be an excellent fit. He really would. What is the wins above replacement between Malik Mack and Judah Mintz? This is honestly a compliment to Mack. I think getting the number 3 overall player in the transfer portal is a solid consolation prize should Judah Mintz leave. I don't think it would be an upgrade. I don't. I think you can't necessarily replace Judah with one player or with one point guard. But he works. He can shoot. He can get to the rim. He's a better free throw shooter than Judah Mintz is. Over 80% in his first season. And he's got a lot of years of eligibility. Think about it. Ivy League Rookie of the Year. That means he's a freshman. So he's going to be a sophomore next year. Perhaps this kid has a long runway and a bright future going forward. So that's another thing you got to look at here when you're replacing Judah Mintz. I think that's something that's glossed over a lot is, all right, we can find this player, but he's only a 1-year Band-Aid. But with Malik Mack, unless he goes to the pros or decides to transfer again, you'd figure he's going to give you at least 2 to 3 years. So it's another solid lock-in starter for your team going forward. So in summary with Malik Mack, who is he? Well, he's currently the number 3 overall transfer available. He is a point guard. He was the Ivy League Rookie of the Year at Harvard. He went to the same high school as Donnie Freeman, which is St. John's College High School. He's from the DMV area. Can he play at the Power 6 level? Well, in a 2-game sample, the answer is yes. He had 18 points against Boston College, 27 points at Indiana. He's a kind of an imitation to Judah Mintz. He can get to the basket. He's not quite as explosive, but still can get to the basket and is a slightly better shooter than Mintz is at 34% from 3 and over 80% at the free throw line. Now, the question is, if he were to come to Syracuse and Judah Mintz were to stay and JJ Starling were to stay, which is weird that I'm saying that because he kind of posted something cryptic on social media with it was nice knowing you all or something like that. But I think Starling's not going anywhere. Can the trio work together if that's even possible? Would Syracuse start all 3? Would one of them come off the bench? We're going to talk all about it right here on the Locked On Syracuse podcast. Stick with us. Bracket already busted, tired of the same old daily fantasy grind where you make a roster, cross your fingers, and hope for the best, or losing on the last leg of your pick'em entry? Introducing Bettor Together, the first cooperative daily fantasy platform where teamwork triumphs talent and you can play with your friends, not against them. Pick more or less on real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboard together. So grab a friend and join the social DFS movement. Hey, you can even play with me. We can team up and beat the competition. My username is JPH52. Send me a friend request and let's get started. Download Bettor Together now from the App Store and sign up using promo code LOCKEDON for a chance to win your share of over $1,000 in cash prizes. Remember the code LOCKEDON because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. Amazon Fire TV is the place I get the top streaming apps and channels for movies, TV, for watching Syracuse games, especially with now the NCAA tournament here, Sweet 16 coming up. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On, and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV Channels lets you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV Channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV Channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the streaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV Channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. We've gone over who Malik Mack is. In case you missed it, he's a point guard from Harvard who was the Ivy League Rookie of the Year. Could certainly be a replacement for Judah Mintz if he were to walk out the door. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know if he would come to Syracuse if Judah Mintz were to stay. But let's have a little bit of fun. Because at the end of the day, money talks. Money talks. Could Syracuse have a 3-guard starting lineup next season? I think the first thing when asking this question is it even feasible? Can a team actually be good doing this? Well, the answer is yes. Just a quick little search on some of the top teams in the country. Houston runs a 3-guard lineup. Three starting guards lineup. They have Jamal Sned, LJ Cryer, and Emmanuel Sharp. None of those guys are above 6'3". I think it works out for them considering they're in the Sweet 16 right now and they're a number 1 seed in the tournament. So, can you be a really good team and start 3 guards that are below the height of 6'3" in your lineup? The answer is yes. I also asked you guys on Twitter at @LO_Syracuse. Would you guys want to see that? A lineup of Judah Mintz, Malik Mack, and JJ Starling. And right now, as I'm looking, the poll has over 200 votes. And 80% of you, this is not Poll Friday, this is kind of a bonus, but 80% of you said yes. We would love to see it. That's where the public is right now. I think it would certainly be interesting. The way I have it is I think Mack would be the point guard. He's the smallest of the 3. He also might be the best distributor of the 3. I think Judah Mintz would be the 2. So in this case, you're moving him off the ball. And I think Judah Mintz can play off the ball. Not sure he'd want to do that, but I think he can. He's 6'3", 6'4"-ish on a good day. And JJ Starling would be the other guard. I guess you can call him the 3 in this scenario, but really he's just the 3rd guard. I just described it to you with Houston. They legitimately run 3 guards and they don't have a starting center. You can do this and still be a really good team. Now, the upside with this type of lineup is if you have Malik Mack, Judah Mintz, and JJ Starling on the floor together, that trio of talent is incredible. Quite frankly, it puts them in the upper echelon of the ACC in terms of pure talent on the floor. So you can see the upside when you have a lot of talent. Now, there are concerns. There are concerns with it, obviously. For starters, none of them are elite shooters, which is kind of important in this day and age. You have Judah Mintz that's under 30% from 3. You have JJ Starling, who's a little bit above 30%, and Mack in the Ivy League last year. Even though I think he can translate his game, you got to figure his numbers are going to go down slightly in efficiency. He was 34% in the Ivy last year, so he's not the greatest shooter in the world. Maybe he gets better. Who knows? Because he's going to be a sophomore next season. But that's a little bit of initial concern there is you don't have a shooter, which means that you're definitely going to have Chris Bell on the floor starting because Chris Bell would provide the shooting for you. And I really like Chris Bell, and I have no problem with him starting. But the next issue is size, right? You have 3 players on the floor that are guards. So obviously size is going to be a problem. And Chris Bell's not known for his rebounding. He's not. So how do you get rebounds? Not an elite shooting. Obviously, having Chris Bell helps on the floor, but you can't grab the rebounds. Yikes. Certainly interesting, right? I guess then Malik Brown probably plays the 5 or Donnie Freeman, but do you want to play Donnie Freeman out of position as a freshman? This is certainly a fun thought experiment, and I can see the upside with it. Is it actually feasible? I don't know. I guess we would have to see it to believe it. I don't know if Malik Mack would come here, just come off the bench. I guess money does talk. If you give him the most NIL money, then who knows? Maybe he would come off the bench. Maybe JJ Starling would have to come off the bench. I don't know. Judah's not going anywhere. He's starting no matter what because he's still the best of the 3. That's the 3-guard lineup possibility. And guys, if you want to chime in on the conversation, leave a comment below what you think of it. 80% of you on Twitter said it's a good idea and you would be down for it. So I'd imagine the comments should be kind of the same, but who knows? Definitely interesting. Now, in this scenario, obviously, what happens to the other guards if Malik Mack were to commit to Syracuse? This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. Just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. The NC State Wolfpack are obviously this week's Nissan Rogue. The team absolutely surprised us all with a powerful performance in their first 2 games in the tournament. Wins over Texas Tech and Oakland have them set up to play Marquette in the Sweet 16. They say win life, go Rogue, and that's exactly what the Wolfpack have done here. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Passion, drive, and patience, what brings home the winning trophy, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. We've gone over who Malik Mack is. We've discussed the possibility of a 3-guard starting lineup next season, which I wouldn't say is super likely, but definitely an interesting thought experiment. So what happens now to the other guards that are currently on the roster? Well, if Judah were to leave, Malik Mack would then become, obviously, the starting point guard if he were to commit to Syracuse. Again, we went over earlier why Malik Mack is connected to the Orange to begin with. DMV connections, high school teammates with Donnie Freeman, etc. So then the other guards like Chance Westry, Kyle Cuff, and Elijah Moore, their expectations, their roles do not change much from what we originally pegged them. They don't. However, if Syracuse were to start 3 guards in the lineup, that's where things get a little bit tricky. We'll start with Chance Westry. Westry was a transfer from Auburn heading into last season. He did not play. He got hurt. He's a complete wild card. That's honestly Chance Westry. He is a complete wild card. We know nothing. I do not care. It's not that I don't care, but it's just, it's hard to entertain that he's really good or that he's really bad. Because he's played 11 games in 2 years at Auburn, and in those games, he averaged less than 3 points, but he was playing very limited minutes, obviously, for a very good Auburn team. And he's been hurt the last 2 years. He was a highly rated high school prospect, and he was definitely a good get for Syracuse in the transfer portal in terms of upside. But right now, all we think of with Chance Westry is kind of this mystery. So what's his role? He could be the first guard off the bench. He could also be a complete afterthought. The point being is that we just don't know enough about Chance Westry to really make an accurate determination of what he's going to do next season. Kyle Cuff. I believe that in this scenario, if Malik Mack were to commit to Syracuse and Judah Mintz were to stay along with JJ Starling, Kyle Cuff becomes obsolete. Kyle Cuff might transfer. I don't know. I don't have inside knowledge on that, but he wouldn't have a role. What would his role be? What does Kyle Cuff do particularly well? I mean, I guess he can play a little bit of defense. Maybe you bring him in defensive situations at the end of the game, but he's not a great shooter. I don't think he brings anything more to the table than what you would be getting from those 3 guards. And that leaves Elijah Moore, and this is part of the reason why Cuff would be obsolete. Elijah Moore is a 4-star freshman from Bronx, New York. And he's going to have a role next season, I think, regardless. I think it's tough to put high expectations on a freshman, particularly one that's not a 5-star. Elijah Moore is a 4-star recruit. And he's not like an upper echelon one. He's kind of in the middle of a 4-star, which is still really good. Tough to put high expectations in year 1 on him. But at the time of his commitment, this is why he can have a role. 24/7 Sports said he is one of the best pure shooters in the entire class of 2024. And yes, I know he had that crazy high school game where he scored a bajillion points. Point is that he is being hyped as someone who can shoot the basketball, which in this scenario, his skill set is unique to the other guards on the roster, which is why he could easily carve out a role, even if Syracuse were to have a 3-guard starting lineup. He can shoot. So if they're trailing in games, he's someone that you might want to bring in because he can get you 3 points. Again, we don't know how he's going to translate necessarily from high school to college, but what I can tell you is what 24/7 Sports wrote about him, which is one of the best pure shooters in the entire class. That's what they're saying. So he's being built as a shooter. He can certainly carve out the role. That's what happens, though, to the other guards on the roster currently. So today we went over who Malik Mack is, the possibility of a 3-guard starting lineup, and the roles of the other 3 guards that are left on the roster, which are Chance Westry, Kyle Cuff, and Elijah Moore. Now, tomorrow, there could be news that breaks. The good news is that regardless, we should have Neil Adler on from inside the Loud House. We're going to go over some of the new football recruits, talk, obviously, transfer portal as well, and more. So Neil Adler is going to be a fun, exciting guest. I know he's been on the show before. He just hasn't been on with me yet. And then Friday, we'll monitor the news, obviously. Might go back to some under-the-radar players, going to the shooting guards. And I am working on another guest. We'll see if I can actually get him. I will not say who he is. The only hint I'll give you is that he is football related. So hopefully it doesn't fall through. We'll see what happens. Don't know if it would be this week or next week, but you will know if I can actually get him on. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, click that like button. If you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you know right away when the next Locked On Syracuse podcast is up and running. I'm Jackson Holzer. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, everyone.